Dr. Okei Odumakin, President Campaign for Democracy, President Women and Rights, President Center for Change. Child sexual abuse in Nigeria has become a recurring decimal, although it's not only localized to Nigeria, but for the sake of this discourse, we're trying to beam a searchlight on Nigeria. You will find out that very simple terms, every 5 minutes you will have about 2 underage being sexually abused. And from the statistics available, it's not really that it's decreasing, but it's on the increase. And a lot of parents, guardians, sisters, caregivers, and the rest are not really helping matters because it's really underreported. And a lot of them feel it should not be reported because of the stigma, because some family members, neighbors might taunt, the children. Apart from that, we have been gravely pauperized, and peanuts money has a telling effect in terms of those concerned, how they want to pursue the case. So most of the time when things happen like that, some of them will just be given little money, as low as 5,000, 10,000, and they will forget about it. You find, let me just give like 2 quick examples. And one worrisome trend is that people who perpetrate these heinous acts are close relatives. They are uncles, they are guardians, some are even fathers. And so that level of trust will have been built over time. And you find out that the children will always warm up to these people. And some of the acts being perpetrated, some of these underage children might even think it's a favor that is being done. It's extra care. Daddy loves me. Yes, daddy wants, wants me, or uncle wants me to pull off my pants. And the child might not even cry. The child might be pained, might not cry. So, 2 quick examples that I want to give. There's a case of a woman that was in our office last month. A mother, the daughter, about 4 years, has been sexually abused by the uncle. That's the father's elder brother, who happens to be the breadwinner for that family. The husband cannot make both ends meet. They are just turned vegetable. So the uncle now comes, and the uncle was seen fondling with this child, not even only fondling, had carnal knowledge of this small child. And the case was brought to our office. But at the end, this woman had to call and say, please, doctor, I want you to stay clear out of this case because it's a family affair. The family has settled it, our pastor has intervened, uncle has apologized, and he will never do such a thing. And we tried, to get this woman understand. But at the end, that case is still on, where the family is not cooperating actively enough. So there are several incidences, on most of them unreported. Some of them, even when they are reported, you find out that the person who comes to lodge a complaint will tell you that, please, I'm no longer interested in the case. And again, at times, it's as a result of frustration. Okay, I'll take a quick example of rape. When such act is perpetrated, even the aunts, even the mom, will just quickly wash the child up because the whole thing will be sticky and messy. But not knowing that if the thing is washed up, the first evidence has been destroyed. And no matter where it's taken to, except if probably in the acts the child was injured, or the medical experts could prove that there has been a penetration. So several instances have been reported, but the sad thing about it is that it's unreported. People keep criminal silence about things that happen. People are not properly informed. They are not well educated. They don't really know that they are destroying the future of their kids, of these young ones, for pecuniary reasons. 2007 that especially Lagos State government adopted this Child Rights Act. We found out that for a very long time, our states will have like about 23 states now that have adopted it. Some is still waiting for the assent of the governor. We still have states like Niger waiting for assent, but most of the states that will, almost all the states that will have in the north, nothing like that have been passed. But the thing is that a lot of education needs to be carried out. Under this Child Rights Act, any child that is not up to 18 cannot be given out marriage. Apart from that, apart from having the carnal knowledge of a child, touching a child uterus, molesting the child, is a flagrant violation of the Child Rights Act. And anyone that is found culpable is liable to either the payment of 500,000 naira or imprisonment. Even now, it was 14, but even now, they've been trying to make the penalty very stiff. But I think more than ever, there must be conscious effort, even by the government, to educate the general public. When the Child Rights Act is violated, a lot of impunity is being perpetrated by even those that are within the corridors of power, those that the children are supposed to be in their care. And I mean, no wonder why we're trying to talk about expunging section 26(4)(b) out of that constitution that says any child that is married is deemed to be of full age. And therefore, when one is of full age, a lot of responsibility is being taken. And when we had a senator from the Federal Republic of Nigeria, from that House of Chambers, that took another age and then said nobody can subject him to obeying any laws because he does not believe in such laws. I want to tell you that, sad enough, that senator has put away that child, that girl that was 12, because she was infected with VVS and she had to be putting on napkins. So after about 4 years, and that has become a trend, she is married about 4 now, and the previous 3 have been infected with that, and then you find urine dripping out, and then continuously they wear napkins. So I think that the Child Rights Act has helped a lot, but we need more sensitization, because this is a law that stipulates how parents, guardians, wards, caregivers, government should protect the rights of the child. It also stipulates the punishment that anyone that flouts that Child Rights Act will be subject to a penalty. So and the frustration really, because we see that justice delayed is justice denied. There's always this snail pace in terms of the administration of justice, and that is why we think that there should be more education, more enlightenment, and our judicial system must help in making sure that they dispense with cases like that, so that it can serve as a deterrent to others. Because I see that a lot of people perpetrating these have been emboldened. By the time they are there, they are granted bail and they go and perpetrate all other even the recent one that happened, Little Hope Orphanage, whereby Pastor Tunde that owns that orphanage around Akuti, they filed 2 minors, and after having carnal knowledge of those ones, the case has been in court since last year March. Some few months back, it was to be heard. The man was nowhere to be found. To show the level of impunity, he then decided to relocate the orphanage from Akuti to a new place. We went to the place, we saw about 38 children there, and these other ones, and sad enough, orphanage, asked them questions. Some of them have fathers, they have mothers. They are the people that maybe they needed help to go to school. They ran to the uncle said, leave your parents home, come and stay in the orphanage. So that is deceit. And that is why I think that, like you rightly asked, the Child Rights Act is a very good tool that will help to curb this menace that is ravaging us. But a lot of education, a lot of enlightenment has to be done, and impunity has to be curbed, so that it's going to serve as a deterrent for all those who perpetrate these heinous acts. Implementation has been a major impediment in realizing the lofty objectives of the initiators of that act. Really, what should police do? Ordinarily, police should be there to protect lives, to protect property, to also help the victims find succor in running under the banner, the cover of the police. But the police has not helped matters. Well, a lot of people take these cases to the police station. What the police ordinarily do is just call them and say, why can't you settle this thing? Some of the policemen will taunt them, make jest of them, and just say, look at you, you are embarrassing yourself. Don't you know you'll be stigmatized? And so those who cannot stand their grounds, some of them will then suffer low self-esteem. Depression will become the order of the day, and blame will be there, even to the extent that some of these kids, we had a case of an 11-year-old girl that committed suicide. I read in the papers, and we're trying to follow up. What happened? The mother took this child to the police station, and what did the child get in process? Jeering, look at you, nobody will ever, after everything. The first, one of the very first suicide that happened, I think, that involving a minor, the child went and committed suicide. Just knew that the mother kept right poisoning that they wanted to use at night, and when she got back, it took everything. So really, in terms of enforcement, our law enforcement agents, the police, they have to be properly educated, because they are the only ones. The law itself, except there is a breath of life, except that tool is properly utilized, it will lie down there, gather dust, it will not be meaningful. So really, a lot of education, we need a lot of enlightenment on the part of the police. The police should also realize that conscience is an open wound, only truth can heal it. All of them have that ability. They should also consider that if that child was a daughter of theirs or a relation, will it not be a different story? So in terms of handling these cases of public interest, they should do all they can within the ambit of the law, so that those who run to them will find solace, and therefore implementation will not be waiting for that implementation will not be like waiting for a picture in a calendar to shed tears. Another adverse effect this abuse can have is the withdrawal syndrome. You see that some of these children are extremely brilliant, but when such a thing happens, the child is withdrawn. And no matter what, any child that does not have a solid foundation is going to adversely affect such a child. So when a child is withdrawn, in terms of education, the child can no longer meet up, the child's IQ drops. In terms of interaction, the child becomes socially withdrawn and cannot even interact within the peers, the group. The child also gets to such an extent that blame, that depression, comes in. And lack of trust is very good for a child to trust. A child can trust, I can trust Auntie Rhoda. I can go to her and tell her that this is what has happened to me. And so when I see her, I'll be very, very happy. And then it also helps to brighten the child. But when that trust is lost, the child will be bottled up and a lot of things will be kept. And I've seen, children that have had to go through continuous headache. And what is it? Thinking all over. So our civil society, as government, apart from that, some of them, when they tend to recover a bit from this, they become promiscuous. You see them that, we've had the case of a girl who said she cannot do without sex, because that is the thing She enjoys it more than food, because when she comes, that's the thing uncle gives her, and for her to live in now has become very, very difficult. In the process, all sorts of diseases, and that child's life can be ruined, forgetting the fact that we should not always build the future for our kids, but we should build our kids for the future, and neither has any of them has the future. So the civil society, which must be involved in lots of advocacy work. A lot of our people, reading culture is almost dead. We are trying to revive it, but there have been instances where we have gone to school to stage drama during break time, sports, stage drama. A child that somebody that would act as somebody who has been abused, stay somebody who will go confide in the person, that person's life will improve. And then there's also we have counseling units where we counsel. We do that even with some schools, although it's not enough. It might be like a drop of sugar in an ocean, but that we are doing that little bit. And then we will also help to counsel, parents. We've had instances where we have leaflets here, with pamphlets here, and we have where the response, our response unit, where people have telephone lines. If you permit, I can quickly give 2 lines that people can call or send tests. Some of these children might be too young, but they can have parents, they can have guidance. We've had a lot of them. A little bit of shelter where within our office, where we quickly accommodate people. We also have to accompany victims. If people call us, somebody has been defiled now, and I need to go to the police station. Where is the location? Oh, it's at Ojodu, it's at the Ikeja. We call people that are within the units. Some of them feel emboldened when you accompany them to the police station. And when the police know that somebody, although they have human rights desks, and that is why the human rights desk needs to do a lot. There are times they complain that they cannot be everywhere, but they need to do a lot so that this will have, Sukabet. Government needs to, the child rights law stipulates that each of the local governments must have shelter. It has not really been fully implemented. That needs to be done, because if people know, and if they broadcast, if it's everywhere, people can quickly run and they have their shelter. And when there's shelter there, they will have a counselor, they will have somebody who look into their needs. So we'll have to back up these policies. We have at the civil society group to do some of these things I've said: advocacy, counseling, helping to accompany people to the police, and we also help at times to reconcile families. We have had an instance where the husband tells the wife, "Why did you come to report to the human rights group? I own the child. The child has been defiled, it's alive." And at the end, you find out that the woman's load has been thrown out. So we bring the father, right? In fact, we've had one that we just resolved yesterday. Call the father, "It's your child's destiny. This is what your wife is doing." And then at the end, we reconcile, and both of them, they can come together, because that marriage is not competition but to complement each other, and in complementing each other, they will help to give this child that bright future. One, we just want to appeal, because if this menace is being fought, when it's a collective effort, we'll achieve better results. And that is why this culture of silence, people fold their arms and akimbo, it's not my business, it's not my concern. Whatever happens, happens. This type of nonchalant attitude. And people should realize that it could be somebody else's child today, tomorrow. It could be their turn. And because they fail to speak out, nobody will also be there to speak out for them or to speak out for their own child. The kids are sent to schools. Some of them go, they go on social acting and everything. So most of these kids are vulnerable. And if we think that it's none of our business, my own business is just, I'm a career woman, I'm a I'm a pepper seller, so I'll just go for my own business. Let people realize that this menace has no color, it has no race, it has no status, And so, if silence is kept, then we cannot fight this. And we also want to say that people should be adequately protected when information is given. And a neighbor is beating the child, almost going to beat the child up to death. Somebody picks up a phone the police. The police invites the neighbor and says, you are reported by so and so. You know, the type of mentality that we have, there must be a change of mindset. A mindset that says that if it does not concern me, I have no business. And so, if we need to bring this menace, if we need to reduce it, to bring it to minimal level, all of us must be involved. People giving information must be protected. And then those that perpetuate the acts, when they know that everywhere, people watch them, I think that they will have a rethink. At times, it takes on displaying uncommon courage in facing some of these people who perpetuate this bestial attitude, this monstrous attitude, to say, yes, you did this, I reported it, and I'm here to face you. At times, you see the level of cowardice that when it comes to that, some of these people who display this brazen, bestial, and barbaric attitude, they are cowards. So let's all of us come together, monitor the progress of our children, and when we see those of them that one way or the other have been violated, let's come out, let's speak out, and let's try and do all within our means to protect them. And again, charity begins at home. Parents, let's try and devote more time in the upbringing of our children. And at times, when a son sees daddy beats mommy continuously, that one will go outside and beat another person and perpetrate all sorts of heinous crime. So it's the collective responsibility of all of us. And apart from that, we cannot clap with one hand. It's not possible. So when we are talking about how do we reduce the level of this sexual abuse, this child molestation, this antisocial behavior, is the responsibility of government, individual, churches, mosques, schools, guardians, parents, wards, and all of them. And for anyone who has been violated, that will listen to this program, the moment is voiced out, the person stops hurting. But the person continues to hurt when the person keeps it. The moment is voiced out, let no one fear stigmatization. Stigmatization is a life from the pit of hell. People who have made it in life, we see that at one point in time, some of them have gone through this process, and they said the moment they broke that silence, that was how all the hurting and all the thinking and all that has happened was over, and they were able to advance as human beings.